3, 2, 1, boom. Thank you for joining us on Crawford's House Podcast today. Today we are on location in Chatham at Destination Retro. You can see the sign in the corner there. We placed it strategically so you can see it. Chatham's largest and widest variety, I would say, of collections of toys, video games, classics, everything you need to be in the electronic world. I have owner Christopher, not Chris.
Either's fine.
Either's fine.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here. And we have Matt on the other end there. Matt, thank you for joining me as well here today.
Thank you for having me.
The topic we are going to hop into, because this is really what I guess I do want to talk about the store a little bit before I jump into this, because you know what? No, we're going to jump at that after. But Chris, what made you end up wanting to open the store?
Well, I'm from the area. There's a severe lack of something of this sort here, I felt. And over the years, I used to work at Tech Savvy for the longest time, so I kind of got tired of that grind, and I wanted to do something else. I met Travis, he's my partner here, so we both own the store together. We kind of just combined our collections and continued grabbing things here, left, right, and everywhere. We'd done swap meets before, and it all just kind of came together. Well, he's from Kitchener, there's 30 stores there, there's nothing here. Let's make something in Chatham that can,
felt like the right opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
And you guys how long have you guys been open now?
We opened in September last year, so coming up on a year now.
Coming up on a year. That's exciting, man. That's exciting. And now the reason I actually have Matt here as well is because we do something in the esports. We do some esports kind of leagues in this building, I would say. Dare to say?
Oh yeah. We regularly host Smash Brothers Melee tournaments, and we're looking into doing other games as well going forward. And Matt organizes that. He has all of the equipment, and really, we don't know where we'd be at without him. So.
I would say, so Matt, you're a very key piece to this puzzle of the whole esports league happening in Destination Retro here.
I try.
And it is such an interesting. Oh, bump the table. Hope you didn't hear it. But it is such an interesting. I wouldn't say concept. It's an interesting sport. I have really recently seen it start to. I would say surge in the last 2 years, where it's becoming more and more everywhere. One of the big actually stories that I remember, I want to say within the last 6 months, was if I'm not mistaken, a college here in Ontario. They end up renovating one of their huge lab spaces, and it's like a massive esports competitive arena, so to speak.
Yeah, that's Sean Bryan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's over at St. Clair College. Here in Chatham, but that's in their Windsor facility.
In their Windsor campus?
Yeah, so basically what they ended up doing was they hired on Sean and then started kind of opening up into getting into the esports space. They opened up a facility, they host tournaments, they even started a class. The class is...
A class? So you're taught essentially how to play, or you taught how to compete? What do you know what the class really involves?
So it's focused on, it's a business focus class. It focuses more on the to the best of my knowledge, the histories of like other sports and how sports got to where it's at. So it's
okay.
Business. I think I'm trying to think of the actual name of the class itself. Business entrepreneurship, business administration, and entrepreneurship is
right on
in the esports world.
In the esports.
So esports business and entrepreneurship.
That would be a very appealing title as a new. I'm 25 now, so looking at these younger generation kids, I see a lot of competitive computer athletes, so to speak. And I'm not ashamed to throw out that terminology, athlete, for those people. I know some people are always like, "Whoa, those aren't athletes," but you know what? In any sense of a competitive form, an athlete is an athlete. It's like that's my the brain's a little damaged, so it might not be totally accurate. Don't call me out on the comments, Crawfords House viewers, but it's one of those things where these are competitive players, and it's a very alive and booming industry, to say the least. Mm-hmm. Now you guys have hosted frequently, if I dare say frequently. I don't, it's I'm using the term loosely, but it is quite frequent. Competitive duels of do you guys do the Magic Gathering card nights and things of that sense?
Absolutely. We have a very large Magic community here in Chatham, and it's only grown since we first opened. We originally only had like half a cabinet, small cabinet with Magic cards. We didn't have any of the packs, any of the accessories here behind me. We didn't have any of it, but people came in, they're like, hey, we want something like this here. Is this something you can do? We were like, Yeah, sure.
Of course it is. Yeah, it's a business opportunity.
At this point, we run several different formats a week. We have Commander EDH night Fridays. It is phenomenal. If you're from the area, be sure to stop by. It's 7 p.m. 49 Kyle Drive South in Chatham. Just saying.
Write it down, people. 49
Honestly,
Kyle
yeah.
Drive.
Just have it flash on the screen at this point.
Yeah, graphics, exactly, graphics. Now, I guess I have a whole whack of questions kind of written down here. What ended up getting? I guess you had said that you would sense that there wasn't really a lot of that kind of in the community. You sense there was a lot of the people in the community, but not a lot of the, so to speak, arenas. Kind of is what I would say. This kind of is a gathering point, or
there are a few in the Chatham-Kent area. There's a couple stores in Wallaceburg. There is another one in Chatham as well. But I think it's just that people want to have more diversity in their options. They want to be able to say, well, I can go here, I can go here. They're doing different formats at the same time, so I have more of an open idea that I can do this tonight. I can play a draft. I could just play something casual. It's really up to them.
It's all fun.
Exactly.
And now, Matt, you are as he mentioned, you kind of help bring everything to the table here to make the events happen with equipment wise. Have you found that being kind of a rewarding experience, kind of being able to bring things to the table and having everyone kind of respond in such a positive way and bring more and more people out?
Always. I'm really for the community, so I really like seeing my collections and the things that I collected growing up, being able to go back and support that community that I was once a part of and that like I said, that I was a part of.
You were a part of. It helped grow who you are today. It helped grow you to this point, and now you're continuing to water other flowers and help them grow.
Yeah,
phenomenal, man, phenomenal. One of the things that I had here to ask was really about the industry. When we talk competitive sports, we have everywhere. I even have written down here everywhere from a pay-per-view television event to just people hanging out on Friday nights playing just with each other. Yeah. What would you guys say the industry is like? Is it overly competitive? Is it a lot of people just having friends? Depends on what tier you're in, kind of deal.
Honestly, from a Magic point of view, it's competitive in certain formats. Other formats, it's really more casual. When it comes to something like Smash Brothers Melee, at least from what I've seen, there's an intense amount of competition, but there's still people that are getting into it. And I don't know, there's something about a tournament, Yeah. You just go out there and you like the game, you see these high-end, top-tier players, and it really gets you wanting to learn more. And I feel that at least in our tournaments here, if anyone walked up to someone, they're like, hey, I'm trying to learn how to play this character. Is there anything you can give me, like, tips-wise, or show me something? And
they would
have casual sit-ups, and it's just been great.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. That's awesome. So, again, at the end of the day, I guess I love how you use Smash because I've seen relationships end off Smash. Not really, obviously, but by the end of the games, those people, if they had knives, they'd be at their throats kind of deal. It's like, it's one of those games that just kind of brings out the competitiveness in it. But at the end, as you said, we're all just kind of helping each other get better. I wouldn't be who I am at Smash today without some of those other fellow Smashers that smashed me in Smash. So one of the, I don't even know that I can read what I wrote down here thing. But what would you say the business as a whole is like? The kind of, when we look at, again, bringing it back to the whole broad scheme versus smaller scheme, do we have local businesses that like to support kind of donation wise, be a sponsor? How is the industry and the community all geared together in the supporting each other financially kind of sense? Like, we're not trying to win money when we do these games, but is there ever kind of any competitiveness in that sense where there's people take home money pots or anything at the end where, thank you for coming out playing, this is it?
So when I'm running the Smash tournament, so one of the things that we do to kind of help support the events is we run things like venue fees or small things like buy merch and be able to have that go towards donation pots and stuff like that. These are generally set for the larger tournaments, but the tournaments that we run here, between venue fees and players also pay an entrance fee. So the entrance fee would go back into the actual prize pot. So the person who's placing first would take home, say, 40% or 60% of that prize pool. If there's $200 on the line, then that person will walk away with $120.
Yeah.
And second and third place will take the rest of the prize pool. So
now, I guess, so do you as the host and everything, you guys don't take a cut of it at all? Like when these donation funds, because I always think in the sense where if somebody's paying a fee to get in to compete, then the house league is kind of taking their chunk to host.
To an extent, that does happen. Like, there's the entry fee to the tournament itself. There's a fee for the venue because we stay open over after hours.
Yeah, after hours. They say you guys are staying open after hours again for me, the TA. Thank you. You know, you guys usually close at 7. What is your business hours? If I guess just to do a little promo here.
So Tuesday to Saturday, we're 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Though we are open after hours for Friday Night Magic as well. For the Sundays, we are here noon to 4 p.m. We are closed on Mondays and on some holidays. Keep a look at our Facebook, facebook.com/Destination Retro. We're always posting updates as well as our calendar of events.
So there we go. You did it perfectly. I didn't need to do anything. That's awesome. So I guess as one of the big things that I see in the store here is classic, systems and games that I remember as a kid. I'm 25, so I'm getting up there. So things are becoming more retro as I see them. As I walked in the door, there's a Super Nintendo right at the door. Are you finding that you're getting more engagement with the younger generation with the older kind of systems, older gen things? Are they intrigued by it at all, or?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised how many kids are aware of the retro games, like 64 games, Super Nintendo games, GameCube stuff.
The best.
They're
just the classics.
They're like 8-10 years old, and they're following all these YouTubers. And there's such a big gaming community on YouTube at this point that they see them play the games. They're like, I have to have that now. I want it. Aside from that, there's always the parents. They come in, they remember everything, the nostalgia, and they kind of introduce their kids to it as well. So.
Which is a great thing to do if you're a parent, and you don't want your kid to be stuck on the phone, because we see phone zombies literally everywhere we look. So if you can prevent phone zombies from happening with those, with children in classic like an N64 or like you said a GameCube, man, like that's incredible. It's those the systems. So you guys have these leagues. When these people come out and do the competitions, are they ever kind of wearing team merch? Do they come in teams? Are they groups? Kind of how does all that work?
So basically how we have things set up at the moment is we have a group of people that are here in Chatham that all like to compete and play and practice together. And then we have the surrounding regions that will send generally like a car. If one person comes, they'll try to maybe fill the car with 2 or 3 other people from their city so that we can see diversity the player pool. So it's not just one city playing against the same people that they already play against every day.
It's the same group showing up every time, and that does get repetitive. Everyone kind of, because you know who you're going to beat when you show up. Not necessarily, I'm not saying that's how it goes. I don't play Magic, so I actually don't know how it all works. I know it's kind of like, the way I reflect on it, don't hate me crowd here, but I get a Yu-Gi-Oh vibe from it back in the day. We'd always have the cards, and you kind of would battle things. You'd have your potions, your magic cards that made, how would you guys compare the two as someone who doesn't know Magic the Gathering?
Well, if I was comparing the two, I would remind them that Magic came before Yu-Gi-Oh! So if anything, Yu-Gi-Oh! is like a Magic thing.
Yu-Gi-Oh! is a
All
copycat.
card games nowadays kind of borrow elements from Magic the Gathering, like when it comes to enchantments, lands, mana sources, various different creature types. Anything that's going on, like Hearthstone's a big example, because I played a lot of Hearthstone back in the day.
Okay.
And looking at it now, after learning Magic and getting into Magic, I'm like, okay, all right, so this is basically just this. This is just this. Oh, this new element the new thing they're doing right now, it's just this old thing that's been around.
It's been around for a long time. Well, we do run out of ideas. We see that in the movie industry. We kind of run out of ideas real quick. The new, as I mentioned it to you earlier, the new Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston movie. It's like a giant movie of Clue.
They've made a movie of Clue before.
They did, so it's like it's not even like we're doing new ideas anymore. We're at a point where we're running out of things. Are you guys actually ever looking to expand? As you mentioned before, you're always trying to more people are coming in. Do you guys have any plans to kind of have expansion nights where maybe other than just a Friday things are happening? I remember you hearing you talk earlier, Matt, when we were coming in and setting up. You're talking about bringing some more systems and looking to get kind of maybe a giveaway going at some point way in the future. I'm not trying to spoil anything, but incentives for people to want to come in and pay that entrance fee and participate. Do you have anything other than the Friday night in the plans? Is it well, the Friday nights are big night, but we do run there's a Tuesday Modern tournament every month. We run Sunday Standard every week now. So there's just a variety of different events that we do have going on as far as it goes weekly. And we are always looking into doing other things as well. A lot of people have been asking us to do something like a Mario Kart tournament, so we're looking into that option now. You're gonna see the competitiveness come out there.
Well, he was talking about something to do with Mario Party. I don't want to run that in the store because there are so many things that you can break here.
Yeah, I would say I will actually do I'll end up throwing that video in, maybe doing a little tour of the store afterwards, just kind of showing the vastness of the items here, because I don't think people really understand the amount of products you do have here, and that's a fair thing. That's a fair understatement. We get a little violent.
They get heated.
So I guess as you guys have been surrounded by every system, every kind of game possible, do you guys have any favorites?
Well, personally, I loved the Nintendo 64. I collected every single one of the North American release titles before I opened up the store.
Give you a clap on that. That's phenomenal.
It took a while. It took time. And it was quite expensive. And then when I opened up the store, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to put most of these into the store. It'll give us a nice boost. We'll have something that we can say, like, hey, yeah, we have every game.
We have every N64
And about a week
game.
after, we figured out that everyone really likes the N64, so we stopped having every game quite quickly.
Well, they were gone just as quickly as they were there.
Yeah, but aside from that, I grew up with a Sega Genesis as a kid. From there, moved on, like PlayStation 2, 3, 4. I still game today when I can, but it's more difficult.
Well, you're a businessman now. You're a businessman. This is the business now. It's like I play the games when I have some time from the business.
Exactly.
I got no time.
You think owning a video game store, you'd have time to play video games.
That's all you do all day. That's not even close to being true. Matt, do you have any favorite systems? I remember you were talking about earlier, bringing in maybe trying to get a Switch trying to get a Switch in or anything. Like what's your favorite go-to?
So for me, I think it would have to be the PlayStation 2. I think the variety of games that are available on the PlayStation 2 and how they just how they were built, how they played. A lot of for me, I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan. So Kingdom Hearts 3 just came out.
I would say so. You're probably super hyped about that new release. I know a lot of people who are Kingdom Hearts fans. I'm not sure if you're watching or not. If you are, thank you for watching Crawfords podcast. But that's been a game that has been we've been waiting for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's
since 2005.
That's crazy, right? That's 14 years kind of deal. So I guess when they released in 2005 or 20,005, let's say, but
what about all the games in between? They had a ton of titles there,
Yeah, a lot
Birth
of
by Sleep.
Good games.
Not your Kingdom Hearts style kind of deal.
There's just definitely a feel that it brings. But I would say, other than that, I'm definitely a big fan of the GameCube. Like Chris was saying, I grew up with pretty much every system from N64 to about 360, and then I switched over to PC gaming. And once you switch to PC, it's hard to switch back.
Well, again, that's actually one thing that I've been surrounded by my whole life is seeing people on the PC gamers. If you're watching, thank you. But those people deck the hell out of their systems. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of shook when I had to spend $400 on my Switch, and it's that's $400 is a graphic card, maybe that's a cheap graphics card. I don't know pricing on computers either, but I feel like that's a low guess from the laughs.
I help a bunch of my friends put together computers, and we put computers together. A cheap end would be $400 or $500, but we spend upwards to $4,000 sometimes to put together computers that are capable of handling graphics and processing for current games that are being released now in the current year at their best settings. So a lot of times this is overkill. It's more for being able to run it for long periods of time, and then again investing in I'm going to have this computer for 3 or 4 years and wanting it to stay relevant and do what you need it to do.
Up to par with what they're releasing as. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to buy a computer that's good as it can get right now and then just need to replace it in 3 to 4 years if you spend that kind of money. Have you guys really heard anything? I know Sony kind of released something early in the year, maybe a couple months ago, with the PlayStation 5, thinking about running in 8K, backwards compatibility. What do you guys think of all this?
Well, I think it will be able to support up to 8K 3D audio if they decide to actually utilize it. That's yet to be seen.
Yet to be seen, yeah.
They're building on PS4's architecture, so it should be backwards compatible, which is good. The big thing about it, though, is that it's going to have a solid-state drive, which is just a huge, huge difference.
Yes.
If you play a game that's just installed on a console, even from a disc, it's still so frustrating sometimes.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And that what would the frustration be in that sense? Because I do a lot of gaming, but I'm not gonna lie, I game a lot of NHL and MLB. I don't really play anything more than just the kind of competitive sports games where I get wrecked by my friends and then leave at the end of the upset. What would you say would those frustrations be?
Load times are still too frustrating, and
Interesting.
even the time it takes to save the game sometimes is frustrating.
I hear you on that. Yeah, even like I'm just thinking now, terrible example, but Grand Theft Auto 5 was only like 5 years ago, kind of when they released the updated version, and still to go into the menu, save, let it tell you it's saved, and then to go back to the menu, you're looking at 30 seconds, 45
yeah,
seconds.
and if
there.
you're not paying attention, you do it again afterwards. You're like, did I save?
Did I save? Yeah. Interesting. No, that's a very fair. That's a very fair point to make. So, do you see that being changed in the future, kind of as you see things changing now? What do you guys like predict for the future? Because you guys are the bunt end of the. You guys are doing it. What do you see for the future, in the competitiveness and in the ownership sense of things?
In the ownership sense of things, well, it's just going to get to the point where the people that were young when the PlayStation 2 was out, GameCube was out, they're going to reach that age in the mid-20s where they have more disposable income, and that's going to be the hot item, and then it's going to move on to the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. For future consoles, PS5 is supposed to still have physical media. I don't know if Xbox is going that way. Sounds like they're dumping it.
Have they? Do you guys know if they've announced anything for Microsoft? Has announced anything for their next Xbox system?
I don't think they've said anything officially. I'm not positive.
It's
but
kind of just people speculating at this point.
yeah, all this cloud-based gaming. I like having physical media. I like being able to say, "Hey, I played this game 20 years ago. It still works. Look at it."
I'm gonna circle back to that, but Matt, what do you see? What do you see in the competitive future? Kind of how esports are, as I said earlier, it's becoming more common in schools and everything. There's a class now. They're building full blown stadiums. I should say. I'll use stadium as the term. What do you see for the future?
So the more the technologies that these games are built around, like right now, the biggest esports games are games like League of Legends, Fortnite, CS:GO. Games that
CS:GO, one of the classics.
Some of these are older games, and some of these are like Fortnite's a newer, much relevant game.
Yep.
To be able to set up a Fortnite tournament, or Fortnite stadium, you need to have those computers that we were just talking about. You would need 100 of those. So now maximize, like multiply that. I buy a $2,000 computer, and then I need 100 of those.
$200,000 like stadium right there.
Exactly. So as we start seeing costs come down on the technology, we'll start seeing more and more of these things popping up. And we're also hitting a point where a lot of the games that I'm seeing that are coming out and stuff like that, they're still running on similar engines or similar software that the previous games in the last, say, 4 years have come out. So if you bought... So, for example, right now I'm running a 1060 on my computer. The 1060 has been around, I'm not sure for how many years, I think maybe 2. But it's still able to perform alongside... Like, we have the RTXs out now, and it can still perform on some level with those. And now that it's much cheaper, you start seeing like 1050s, 1060s. They are now more budget friendly for people to actually pick up.
Yeah, to pick up and be able to kind of incorporate in their own life and join that league and that community kind of deal.
So I think we're just going to, as people start investing more into BRs and they start getting the technology, they're going to start exploring what they can then do with this after that, like running League of Legends events or running CSGO events, pretty much any of the major esports. And then we just open the field to look at new esports that come after these games start to kind of die down and people want to continue making money off the product that they've already purchased, right?
It really is interesting because Counter-Strike was a game I remember playing when I was like grade 7, like I was maybe 11, like that game it feels like that game has been around for a long time and it's still like number one in that streaming business. Like I can still hop on Twitch and watch 1,000 different people play it, and I might be lucky to see them fight each other, but the odds are very low because there's so many people around the world that are playing. It's incredible. Do you guys have, as you guys are very localized, do you guys ever do any tournaments? As you had said, you bring people come in from outside of town. You always encourage others to bring, diversity in groups. Do you guys ever have any outside of town tournaments you ever go to? What is the sense in that with the community of Southwestern Ontario?
So a few months back, we actually did an event that the store was at called GameX, and I hosted a Mario Kart and a Smash Bros. Melee tournament for that. So sometimes we are out doing things outside of town. I know various tournament organizers that live in the cities living around us, and I try to support them as much as I can with the time that I have. Other than that, I don't think that... Like, I have plans to expand more outward, but my focus is to inside of Chatham and to kind of help extend what's going on in Toronto and the bigger esports world that's out there and bring it more
Bring it
south,
here.
so that way my friends can enjoy that kind of thing without having to travel for 3 hours.
Yeah, because that travel time, as much as we want to deny it, it ruins the fun you end up having sometimes. You know, it's like I gotta travel 3.5 hours to get to this place, pay $60 to park for the weekend, and then another 3.5 hours back. Like, whoa. That is the biggest part, I think, of what you said there, is bringing that Toronto crowd this way, because it's, you know, everything is always booming in Toronto. Everything's always this big cluster cancer cell up in Toronto. And when we look at the, you know, the small little communities around here, we got like Tilbury, Dresden, Wallsburg, Ridgetown, all these little small places that never kind of seem to get attention. Are you seeing that there's a lot of people in these communities that are coming out, kind of feel like they haven't ever been spoken to, or kind of not spoken to, I should say, because that sounds terrible, but I would say given the spotlight in a sense where, hey, we have this going on, you can come join us. Do you ever find that there's people that are reluctant to kind of come in, or didn't know these opportunities existed, or what's the community really like, I should say?
Well, there's always going to be people that are reluctant to, like, I don't know, they're maybe anxious about coming in or something
anxiety.
like that. But I feel like over time, it's just been great. Like, I've seen people who've come in, barely said a word, and then over time they'll come in, they'll be
Chit chatty as hell, yeah.
You know. And when it comes to the tournaments themselves, when we get new players in, they typically, well, they might be quiet at first, but after time, I'd say, like, since our first tournament, we had some people come in, they hadn't really played before, they've come out over and over again. They've just improved.
Slowly started learning, yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the other questions that I'm just kind of thinking of off the top of my head was, do you see people coming in that don't know how to play, learning to play from the community?
So far, every event that we've run so far, we are seeing new players come in. Now, seeing a return on those players. A lot of these games, it takes thousands and thousands of hours of refining your craft, and you give it your best shot by going and seeing where you stand. Once you see where you stand, I think that players are more likely to take a step back, look more online and do their research, seek help from the community and learn to improve, and then come back more in a year's time rather than
like next week. Thinking you're so much better than you were last week. It's not. It's something you perfect over time, not just something you're just good at.
Exactly. And it's been a really common trend with Smash, specifically Super Smash Bros. Melee, just because the game's been out for 14 years. How do you keep up with 14 years? It's actually longer than that. How do you keep up with that?
29, 25? Like, I feel like that was in the 90s.
15, I think this is the 15th year.
2004. Oh.
There should be some big anniversary tournament.
There's an idea, right? Like 20th anniversary tournament.
I don't know. Well, 20th though. That's time from now. I think. I'm not really sure.
I actually have no idea. 15 year, 20, like just every year, honestly, right? Every year's an anniversary.
Every year is an anniversary.
But as you said, you know, it takes time to kind of come back and learn the skills and to perfect your art.
Exactly. It's really hard to compete against other players when they do have all that time. But once you have that time, that's when the doors really start to open. I'm still seeing players that I played with 2 years ago who are now able to compete with me on my level.
Right on.
That 2 years ago only had the drive to just improve, and now they actually have the drive to go out and compete at bigger tournaments that are happening like in those Toronto areas or in other locations.
Now, what would you say, because, you know, again, in comparison to the bigger cities like Toronto, Chatham is substantially smaller. What are the numbers that you see come out for these tournaments? Is it like usually in the double digits, obviously? Like it's like a huge community? What is it about?
Well, it definitely can vary. I'd say we typically get around 16 people. If we put more advertising into it, I'd say we can get up to 24, 32 in here.
Right on.
But yeah.
So that's a huge community though at that point, right? Like that's such a big community of people that might not have known each other existed, and now they're all, you know, friends at the end. I like to think, you know, because that's just what ends up happening when you're socializing, playing things together, learning from each other. As you said, it's a huge deal. How do you guys feel about Twitch? That was one of the other questions I had, kind of, because I know as like an online streaming service, it's there for people who are, you know, who want to be competitive, but in a sense also want to have that support of everyone.
I like Twitch a lot. I've actually been following Twitch since back when Justin TV was a thing still.
Oh, wow.
So
that's like the original Twitch, right?
Long ago, back when people were barely gaming and it was mostly just illegal TV streams. But nowadays, you can really see the growth in people. Like, I've followed streamers for years now, and they started off, they barely had a community, and now it's just crazy how much things have expanded and exploded for them. If you put the time in and the effort in, and you network properly, and you put yourself out there, and you advertise yourself, you can do amazing things.
You can do
with that
amazing.
platform.
I actually have a buddy, Walter Staley. I don't know if you guys.
Yep.
You know, I just kind of recently. I don't really know too much about what he's done, but I've kind of seen pictures that he's started to do streaming, and he's gotten picked up quite a bit of like community support and things like that. So that is phenomenal to see. Would you guys ever, encourage people to do Twitch if they were looking to do the online gaming? It's a community that doesn't hurt, right? So
yeah, if you've got the time and you've got the resources to do it, you should give it a try if it's something that you're passionate about. It's a great way to get involved in the gaming community. You can definitely make some contacts that'll help you out if that's something you want to explore further, or you can even branch off into doing videos or other things from it too.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I find is when you're trying to make money from video games, you have to generally do a lot of things that wouldn't be what it is that you enjoyed playing video games in the first place. Like a lot of us, we got home from school, we've got all this time on our hands, so we turn on our PlayStation, and then we play for hours and hours and hours. But now we're all adults, we have jobs, we're doing all these other things.
Yeah,
so finding a way of getting back from the time that you spent is very important. The thing that I see with that is there's a lot of people that end up going outside of their comfort zone. Like you've got competitors who can go and win tournaments who are good enough, or you have people who have money to invest into the gaming space and make these arenas. But a lot of the money isn't going back towards like the actual people who are just playing the video games themselves. And the thing that I like about Twitch is that's the
point of them.
Yeah, that's who it caters to. So I could be sitting there and I could play a game for 1,000 hours and make nothing for it, but if I do it on Twitch, now I have an opportunity to do the exact same thing that I was doing, interact with people, and then actually make money for that.
And it really is all just about having those people click that link, giving you a chance, and then falling in love. Just as simple as that, right? That's what I did with this podcast. People told me they loved me for so long. They think I was such a good interviewer. I said, you know what? Finally, I'll do it. And now I'm here talking to you guys. It's an honor to be invited into a business with the owner and someone who is such a vital part to the community here as well. I got 2 peas in a pot, and I couldn't be more thankful for that. So coming out of that comfort zone does really ends up benefiting you, as you said, even in the Twitch community as well. Because next thing you know, you're famous. You're an internet streamer. Now I don't love to support people trying to just make it on one industry. I'm a little bit of a double sword kind of guy, because I've seen what happens when that ends up just going away suddenly, and then where they left, they almost have nothing to support themselves on. Now, in this sense, it's maybe just the Instagram models, take pictures of themselves and just expect thousands of likes or whatever. But this is the real world. So I guess really I've run out of questions. You guys have nailed everything I've asked so goddamn on the point. We've been talking for about half an hour. I'd like to think I've covered everything I wanted to ask you about. But is there anything you want to talk about before we wrap things up? I want to give you the mic. I want to give you as much time as you want. I want you to talk about anything that I didn't get a chance to.
All right, now's your chance. You can finally break into your MC career.
Yeah, I can give you the.
Not something that I've really been that big with, public speaking or talking in front of people. I like to talk, so never hurts.
Hey, that's the thing though, right? Because the worst thing you can do is not talk.
Exactly.
Because I lived that life as a high schooler. I knew a lot of people, but I wasn't friends with a lot of people. You know what I mean? Because I was afraid to talk to people, and that's I owe it all to a terrible car accident. I whacked my brain a little out of sense, but there is no wall between me and anybody now, and it's just like that's the comfortability that makes kind of success, right? So. That's awesome, guys. So nothing else to say then. That's any upcoming tournaments, as I do want to promote the place as much as possible here. I already got a couple things in their video. Chris, it's your time. Yeah, anything you want to do, and then Matt, after that, if you have anything coming up, I would love to give you both a chance to. Perfect. I'll throw graphics in. I'll throw everything.
All right. Well, I guess I could just run down like some events we've got coming up. As I said, 7 p.m. this Friday, which is every Friday, so no matter when you're watching this, Friday Night Magic Commander we have running here. You're welcome to come in and play any other games as well, 7 p.m. until usually around 11.
11, right on.
First Tuesday every single month we have a modern tournament. We're always giving away prizes that make us lose money. We want to bring you in. We want to bring the community together. We have a loyalty program here for our Magic players as well. Participate in any 5 events. Doesn't matter if you have to pay to enter the event or not. Participate in 5 events, you get a free pack. Just like that. Just that easy. Doesn't matter how many people come out. And yeah, we're also going to be, depending on when you're watching this, we'll be at Anime North if you're in the area. Feel free to stop by our booth. It should be a lot of fun there as well. So yeah.
There we go, Matt.
On the top of my head, there's nothing that I would really like to advertise.
Okay, perfect. That's a good thing to come out. It's like I'm not trying to tell you things that I'm not wanting to tell you, kind of deal. You got to shoot Destination Retro a like on Facebook. Destination Retro, facebook.com/Destination Retro. It's as simple as that. If you are in Chatham, come check them out. The address.
49 Kyle Drive South, right next to the Spice and Curry Jiffy Lube. There's a Value Village across the road. If you need more directions, reach out to us online.
Boom, right there. Send them a message on Facebook because you respond, obviously. That's,
yeah.
I'm not going to look at the message and be like, nah. It's not that kind of place. Well, hey guys, honestly, thank you so much both for joining me. I would shake your hands, but it's it's like I could shake your hand. I'll shake yours. Matt, I'm gonna reach over, shake yours.
There you go. Everyone shakes each other's hands.
Exactly. Friendship makes the dream work. Hey, all right, so thank you guys for watching Crawford's House Podcast. As you saw in the title, as you saw during the video, and as you're seeing right now, we're at Destination Retro in Chatham. We have the owner. We have a very important part of the business. I don't want to give things. I think it's very important that, we have someone who also helps keep leagues and everything running. So it's a team effort, right? So I have two of the most genuinely nice guys I'm in their house today. I'm not even in my house. I'm in their house. So thank you for watching, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. And hey, make sure to like, share, and subscribe on Facebook. Until next time, Crawford's House Podcast. Peace.